Okay, we are getting some huge changes coming to Genshin in 4.3. Now, this is some of the stuff a lot of Genshin players have been begging miHoYo to do, and it's finally happening. Now, there's quite a few to discuss in this latest developer discussion. We're going to be talking about a lot of great stuff here, so you're going to want to check this out. We're going to be talking about changes to the artifact system, to domains, to quests, as well as expeditions. But before we get into the discussion about artifacts, because I know you guys are dying to hear that, let me get some of the smaller stuff out of the way, such as quest optimizations. Now, we all know Genshin is a huge game, and it's only getting bigger. But if you were to ask me what was one of the most painful quests we've ever had to do, it would probably be the Chasm quests. Before we could do Archon Quest Chapter 2 Act 4, you had to complete the Chasm. Yes, I still have PTSD of the Chasm to this day. Luckily for all you new Genshin players, you don't have to struggle like I did, because you get to teleport straight past all of those quests and complete the story. You don't have to do anything difficult, alright? That's basically it. Quest optimizations, fun times for you guys, alright? And another small one, which is quite good. Definitely nice to have, changes to character leveling and enhancements. This goes for characters, weapons, and such. So anything you have to level using resources, they have made it more streamlined. That doesn't sound like much. That's because it kind of isn't. That's not the big news that you probably waited to hear. But it's a nice to have. You don't have to be harassed by 50 billion pop-ups just to get your new level to level 90. Also, you can get weapons to R5 right away. Now, I don't know if you needed that feature, but I'm not getting that many new weapons. I need to get my weapons to R5 in one click. I kind of prefer going bit by bit to see those little increases in the refinement ranks, but that's just me. Before we get into domain and artifact discussions, I have to say one change that's actually such a small change, but it is going to change, honestly, Genshin for me. One-click expeditions. We could finally get all of our expedition rewards in one click and then send them off again to get the rewards again. I can't lie, I don't know why this process is so annoying, having to click each of the tabs when you do your expeditions. I mean, we got this in the Honkai Star Rail, but we finally got it in Genshin. This is by far the biggest feature I am most excited about. I can't lie, it's just how I am. What am I supposed to say? Now, moving on to the big stuff, we have changes to domains. Yes, artifact domains, and when you have to grind out the lovely artifact sets. Now, we all know we're getting 2 new artifact sets in the new 4.3 update, and if you need to know more about that, make sure to watch this video about everything you need to know in 4.3. If you're up to date, let me tell you why this is going to be easier for us to get. Because now, when we start or continue on a domain challenge, Genshin will actually put us right next to the big red shiny key thing that we used to start the domain challenge. I know for some of you tryhards, it takes longer for you to walk to the domain than to complete the domain. Unfortunately, I am not a scrub like that. I do take a long time to complete my domains, but definitely a nice to have feature that just makes the game that much easier to play in terms of grinding out artifacts if that's what you want to do. I can't lie, this does make me a tiny bit sad. I can no longer lock people out of their domain when they sit AFK for too long, or they're just not as fast as my jet engine when I play as the Wanderer. That will be missed. Everyone, let's leave an F in the comments and a moment of silence for not being able to lock our friends out of domains anymore. Alright, now the final and the biggest change. Now this is a massive change. This could be an entire video on its own. It is changes to the artifact system. More specifically, the artifacts interface optimization. Now, there's a lot of things that we can talk about with artifacts in Genshin, but one of the biggest things a lot of people have recommended is to have more ways to interact with our billions and billions of artifacts at this point, and we're only getting more. So it's getting harder and harder to manage all of these artifacts. But do you know what they have just done? Now it's possible to see what is the recommended artifact for each character. And this isn't a recommendation for miHoYo, this is actually live data usage from basically all Genshin players. So we can see what is the most used artifact right away without having to leave the game. Definitely a nice touch. What makes this even better is that now, when you are now going to be getting these artifacts, we can now lock artifacts based on certain criteria that we can set. Let's say you're only interested in artifacts with crit damage percentage and crit rate percentage, for example. You can now automatically only lock artifacts for a specific set based on the needs you are looking for. Do you know how much time this is going to save? I don't have to manually click on every single artifact after doing the domain. They will automatically go to your inventory and then lock if it meets your requirements. That way, if it's garbage, you don't even have to look at it anymore. It just goes in the trash, like where you belong if you haven't clicked subscribe yet. So not only that, you get 2 auto lock per artifact set. So it's independent for each artifact, meaning you can have a specific set for, you can have a VV plan and you can have a Berserker set, for example. There's 2 artifacts that came to mind. Another thing we can also batch lock artifacts that are already in our inventory based on the plans that we have. And we can also batch unlock artifacts based on the filter, you guessed it, again. So this is absolutely great because I've started playing a bit more, I guess, meta in Genshin, grinding a lot of artifacts, and it is really becoming hard to manage. You can set stuff if it's, I believe, lock status, artifact state, level status, and equip status. So very, very nice to have. Now we can sort artifacts, but do you know what the second most annoying thing about artifacts is? The fact that it takes ages and ages to level them up. Purely because you're left adding 5 artifacts at a time. Well, guess what? miHoYo finally answered your prayers, and you can add like 15 artifacts or whatever to level up your artifact. It's gonna make my life so much better. And what pairs nicely with this, you can limit it to like level 4, for example, you know, the next tier. So you can level it up in one go from level 0 to 4 to 8 to 12, 16. Basically all in one click. No more mindlessly mashing the keyboard. Man, Genshin for new players is so much different than how we used to play. Honestly, it's kind of crazy getting so much. And if you need more Genshin content, click this video right there.